listeners and readers of AwardsWatch.com. This is the AwardsWatch Podcast. This is episode 142. I am your executive editor, Ryan McQuade, and joining me today is Erik Anderson.
Hello, I'm here.
Yes, you are. And Dan Bayer.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Josh Parham.
Hello.
Thank God you didn't do an Elvis thing there, Josh. Just kept
there
it
is
consistent.
no
world. There is no world.
That is not me.
Good. Well, we're going to be talking about our top 3 biopic films, and we will be talking about Elvis, and we will be talking about listener questions. We will be doing the SAG Ensemble game. But up first, I just want to kind of salute the website and everybody that's been doing a lot of amazing work on the website this week. We've had a ton of Emmy coverage, and we're really in the thick of that. We've also had some great film reviews, some other film interviews as well. Erik, you can speak to it. You've been posting like crazy for everybody. Everyone has just been doing a fantastic job on the website this past week. It was a really heavy week of stuff. And Erik, if you want to shout out some people for their stuff this week, you can, because I think everyone on the staff deserves a round of applause for the amount of stuff that went down this past week.
They've been doing fantastic work, and it just each Emmy season gets kind of bigger and bigger for us and busier. So I'm really glad to have such a larger group of really wonderful people, and like Zoe Rose Bryant just destroyed all of the Abbott Elementary interviews and just really worked so hard on those. Tyler, my gosh,
yes.
editor Tyler, the one man Station 11 campaign, and will, as of today, listening to this today, we'll also have Matilda Lawler from that show as well, and can't wait. That girl is just scary brilliant and wonderful. Everybody, I just I'm always touched still that, you know, I have this many people in this group that want to do things with me.
With you.
So, I mean, you know, it's I don't ever want to feel cynical or take things for granted. Obviously Dewey Singleton, my God, I think he did like 7 interviews in one day, just almost back to back. Just
knocking them all out of the park.
And
different questions.
He doesn't just churn content out. He's so, every single interview is totally unique to another one. He goes back deep into careers and little bits of information and pulls it out and makes that experience that he has with somebody he's talking to, whether it's 5 minutes or 15 minutes, it's a totally unique one. And it's really just awesome. Abe Friedhanser, also another just workhorse. And I mean, I guess I can say it now, since by the time anyone hears this, it will already be posted. But Abe Friedhanser is the newest addition to the AEW team as a staff writer.
Yes. Woo! Congratulations, Abe.
Long time coming. I mean, like long time. This is, you know, him and I talked about this a while ago. So I told him I'm always trying to find like a break, a moment in between like seasons and things to give people that little bit of time and credit and acknowledgement. And there isn't. There's no time between seasons.
No, there's not. I mean, you scared the crap out of me when you gave me this position. So it's only fair to, And I think that was kind of on purpose, just because you wanted to do that to begin with.
I do take great joy in scaring you and putting you on the edge of your seat. Yeah,
that is fair. That's
very true.
Very fair. That's very fair. But no, congratulations, Abe. yes, Dewey and Tyler and Zoe and just everyone.
And more to come, by the way.
More to come. We're gonna have some more announcements over the next couple of weeks and stuff.
Yeah.
And so a lot more on the development side. And as we get out of Emmy season and then start heading into Oscar season later this year, which is, I mean, it will be here before you know it. I mean, we're like you and I were talking about it the other night. We're 2 months away from Telluride. I mean, it's insane. So
that's
it.
And
then that's it. And then only one will return.
That is true.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm sorry for your family.
I'm sorry for yours. Right now. I'm sorry for yours. Yeah. Only one will be on the show in the future. But anyway, just go check out the website. I just wanted to highlight everybody this week because it's been such a crazy, hectic week. And I mean, the news at the end of the week obviously was devastating and just heartbreaking, but I didn't want that to get lost in there. But also too, if you want a moment of escape from the dread, to go and read those interviews and read that work, so it can bring a sense of relief through what is some really trying times right now. And that's what we're here to do also on this show, is for all of our listeners and readers too, is to provide an escape. And what better way to do that than talk about Elvis, which will, I think, be an interesting discussion, because it is the biggest film that came out this weekend, and another film for Erik's team in the summer movie draft to release. And it was kind of tied. Technically, it's number 2.
Monday. We don't
know yet. I mean, at this time, it's tied-ish with Top Gun Maverick. Well, I'll call it a tie as of right now. It's like 100.
It's still good news for that movie.
Yeah, which is still really good. No, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It made $30.5 million, which to tie with Top Gun Maverick, which just crossed $1 billion worldwide. So congratulations, Tom Cruise and crew.
I mean, it was a good box office weekend
for a lot of
United
things.
States, just in a major way.
It was the first time since, I think it was like 2018, 2019, that 4 films got $20 million at the box office domestically.
15 over, because
15 over. Okay.
Lightyear is not going to hit 20. It's just cratering.
Yeah.
But yeah, September 2019 was the last time that 4 movies had 15 million weekend grosses.
It means people are seeing movies right now in the theater.
Movies are back, baby.
We can definitively say that. I think that is for sure. I don't, no.
I paid like real human American cash to see Top Gun, so I did my part.
Well, technically, you helped our team out. Me and Josh.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that either. Although I did pay for a child's ticket on accident. I didn't realize it, and I got to the theater, and he's like, "This is a child's ticket. Just don't worry about it." But next time, I'm like, "I am so sorry."
Did they pull out the ruler for the height requirement and everything?
Hey, I could pass if you don't. Don't look.
Just peel it back. Just push it back.
Better that than you buying the senior ticket.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And them not.
Come on, Josh.
Yeah.
Hey, I did get carded at the Stranger Things experience so that I could buy booze, and that was thankful.
That must have felt really nice.
Yeah. Look at you. I'm not going to make a joke about it. I'm just going to move on because there's too many I could make. But no, we're here to talk about Elvis, which obviously is Baz Luhrmann's new film. Erik and I kind of talked about it a little bit last week. We didn't get too crazy into it because we wanted everybody to see it. And we have 2 other people that have seen it here. Dan has seen it. Josh has seen it. So it's a fair discussion to have around. And what was interesting is a shout out to Scott Menzel and the Hollywood Critics Association, because they were doing their weekly Twitter space the other day, and we were trying to get into the sort of meat of this film and try to talk about it, and luckily some technological issues happened, so I really didn't get too much into it. So it'd be nice to actually have like a fresh conversation about this, about a movie that audience seems to really like. I mean, they went to the theater and see it. It had an A- cinema score, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So it did pretty well for itself there in that department. I'm just curious. I'll go to Dan first. So, I know you're a little bit more on the positive side of it, Dan. So, talk about Elvis. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it?
Yeah, so I mean, take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt because I'm a massive Baz Luhrmann fanboy / apologist / whatever you want to call it. But I thought that this was fantastic. I think it's a total showstopper of a movie. I think that Elvis Presley is sort of the perfect vehicle for Baz Luhrmann's brand of maximalist style. I loved that he treated the whole movie essentially like it was one giant montage, and you are basically giving a performance with Elvis throughout the whole movie. You are there with him, and it is exhausting, and so much is happening. And when the time comes when in between performances and you're off stage and things quiet down for a little, you're just like, oh, I need a cigarette. And then it kicks right back up again, and you're right back into it. And I know for a lot of people that's a bit of a breaking point with the movie. That's not for them, and to them I say that's absolutely fair. But I loved it. I thought it was, I am occasionally a style over substance person when the style is really great and involving. And I think for Baz Luhrmann specifically, it's not style over substance. For him, the style is the substance. And I think that is especially true in the case of this movie. I thought all that style that he throws at it really fleshed out Elvis, his character, and what it must have felt like to be him. And I think it also no one else is making movies like this. It felt so fresh and new and exciting and different. And on top of that, you have Austin Butler giving one of the greatest Star is Born performances I think I've ever seen, certainly in recent memory. He's just a goddamn supernova on that screen. You cannot look away from him, even if you wanted to. He's just completely spectacular, doing his own singing and dancing and everything. And there are definitely some parts of the movie where I was like, am I watching archive footage or am I watching Austin Butler? I'm not sure. It's a pretty scarily good performance. And I'm very positive on this movie, and I know that you, Ryan, and Josh do not feel the same way exactly, but I will defend it until the death.
The perfect transition over to Josh's take on this film too. Josh, I know you're a little bit more on my side on this, I think, and so why don't you like Elvis?
Yeah, my opinion is very counter to Dan. Even though I'm very happy that Dan liked the movie, but I was not a fan. I should say I'm not the biggest proponent of Luhrmann to begin with. Like, I respect him very much as an artist, but he's polarizing. I would think
he
fair
is
to say, and it just never really been for me. Also, I just don't like Elvis in general, to put it diplomatically, because I have stronger feelings, I could say. So just as a subject matter and filmmaker, it was going to be a high bar for me to really like this movie. And yeah, I was not a fan. I will say, Austin Butler, yes, obviously great performance, so magnetic. And as Dan said, you just can't take your eyes off of him, even though you wouldn't want to. I mean, because he's also gorgeous. But I don't know. I just found the movie itself to be rather sluggish, to be honest. And it goes through a lot of the tropes of this genre that I'm sure we're all familiar with, that I never really felt like it broke out of sufficiently. And there was even times I felt like even Baz Luhrmann himself, like his style just never felt consistent all the way through it. And it felt tiresome at a certain point. So there were things that I can appreciate about it, but overall, I just found myself not really connecting to the material. I also found that everything about sort of the controversies with Elvis, I did not really feel like the movie addressed in a sufficient manner, which was one of the big things I was looking for. So that was major demerits for me. So I get it. If you love it, all the power to you. I wish I did like it, but I found myself being very frustrated with the movie.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same thing that goes with me, Josh. I mean, I had to drive like an hour and a half to go see this darn thing at a critic screening. And I was like you, I'm not the biggest Baz Luhrmann fan. Not like Erik and not like Dan, who are clearly in the bag for his movies. And that's great. I mean, like, people are in for certain directors and I know that there are a ton of directors that I like that people aren't a fan of and everything too. So everybody has their favorites. And I get that. For me, like, the minute it was like from the get-go, from the minute the movie in those opening just pan shots of like Las Vegas and everything, you're like, oh, okay. He really just, once again, nobody said no to him. And I couldn't get over the fact that beyond Butler's performance, it felt like everyone around him was just very lazy. It just felt very lazy. Those performances, the script is not a winner by any stretch of the imagination. And it is just the most carbon copy of all the traits that we have seen satirized and picked apart by think pieces and everything. And as I've sat on the film, I still have an appreciation for what Austin Butler's doing. There are certain scenes that I think he's doing a really good job in. Like, the New York scene where it is it at like Yankee Stadium or something like that, where he's singing outside. You know what I'm talking about, guys?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In the stadium. Yeah, the stadium concert.
The wiggle.
The wiggle with the finger bit. Like, I think that like that's fully encapsulating him. Or the comeback special, which I think is the highlight and crown jewel of the film, because I think that like I've talked with some other people, like, this movie felt like certain segments of it could have had the story re-manipulated to make it feel unlike the standard. You start from the top of a Wikipedia page and you run all the way down, because that's exactly what it felt like at times. And there are some scenes that are absolutely hysterically, unapologetically campy. And then there are some that I don't think are supposed to be funny at all, that I found myself and audience members that I was watching it with that were laughing. Particularly, there was one where Tom Hanks has to go check on Elvis immediately after his mom dies, and the way that Austin Butler is like hanging on to his mother's like clothes in the closet, and like the way that Tom Hanks sort of comes into the frame like very slowly, it's seared into my brain how like hilarious and like, that's the take you went with. But I get it. And so I think Tom Hanks,
Baz Luhrmann,
that's Baz Luhrmann for you. And I think Hanks is completely miscast. I get you have to have a star above the marquee because you don't have a star playing Elvis, so you need somebody else in there. And I get that, but I thought the sort of idea of centering this around the Colonel Tom Parker perspective was not great. I thought that his family members, particularly Priscilla and everyone there, were completely underdone and not even looked at all, which giving and painted with a completely positive touch to the point where I can understand why they gave him Luhrmann like complete like yes on the whole project. And I mean, it's just this. I saw this all week, and I know Erik got on me on Twitter and Dan and everybody, but I said this, and I'm going to say it on the show, and I firmly still believe in this too, which is I don't understand the sort of pass that this movie is getting by so many people, because it feels like a lot of the same problems I had with this film are the same problems I've had with tons of biopics, including Bohemian Rhapsody, which a lot of people really, really hate. And I sat there and I went like, this is the same sort of generic, cookie cutter product that we get all the time. This is not on the level, I think, of something like Rocket Man, which is trying to do something completely different than what this movie is doing, and has a way better lead performance in Taron Egerton, and is willing to look at the flaws of the artist, I think, a hell of a lot more than this, because that film at least looks at the drug addiction that Elton John goes with, as opposed to the clearly problematic elements that Josh was alluring to of Elvis and his taking of African American music and repurposing it as his own. There's a scene with Little Richard that I think is just so disrespectful. But anyway, Erik, I'm curious why you like this movie. I could go on for a long time, but Erik, why do you like this movie beyond the Baz Luhrmann of it all?
Well, I don't want to necessarily retread what we already talked about on the podcast and be too repetitive. But I will say this: in the time since I've seen it, I like it less. And part of the reason is reading and listening to more people's takes on it, not yours, clearly, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, it's never
because his take is very wrong, and that's
because
okay.
there are clear and demonstrable things that are just wrong and ridiculous about it. But I already went over that in the last podcast.
Yeah, and you were wrong then.
So there's no need to shred you any further.
No, there's
you
no.
Are. There's
man, I'm going to edit all of this out.
There's no need to. But no. Yes, on the superficial level, I do still really love it, and I am a Baz Luhrmann fan, so my predilection is to like this. But even just listening to Josh now, he highlights one of the inconsistencies of the movie, and that is part of it, being 2 hours and 40 minutes. It does have sloggy, saggy moments, because when it's not in its bazziest moments of energetic editing and crazy camera movements, and it's just kind of still moments, is when it really starts. All of the cliches are completely naked at that point. There's nothing really disguising it, and that's, one thing I did mention on that podcast is that it has every single possible paint by number elements of a womb to tomb biopic here. And the thing that I love about it is that it's Luhrmann, and that he does just visually a lot of really, really, really fun things about it. And it is tough for Butler because he is carrying very much all of this. He doesn't have a co-star or somebody near him that is pulling the same weight that all other Baz Luhrmann films really have. So it is all on him. Yes, clearly the way that it treats historically his relationship with Black artists who were at the time very supportive of him, but the way that it's presented is a very strange. It's both apologetic for the history as well as negating it. It's very strange how it treats pretty much all of the Black artists, in whether it's B.B. King, it doesn't even matter. They're all kind of just paid lip service. And like I said, I could not deal with the Forrest Gumping of Elvis through all of the civil rights and assassination moments. Bad. It is so bad.
They gotta stop doing this.
It's bad. It's so bad.
Doing this.
And it's funny. This is like I said, it's like a pretty much a birth to death. This probably could have ended at the 68 comeback concert, and then just had, epilogue title cards and stuff like that, and maybe would have been better. Certainly would have put it closer to like a 2 hour 2:15 mark, and been just a little bit tighter. And yeah, there are so many things that are completely left, not even on the cutting room floor, because they didn't shoot him. He met Priscilla when she was 14, and icky, gross, and horrible. That's why. But yeah, how do you involve relatives and families and estates when you're doing a biopic and not sidestep that. And it is very, very sidestepped.
Yeah, no, for sure. Any Dan, Josh, and you guys want to take a swing on it?
I did want to say something that Dan said about archival footage, because there are so many moments where there's archival footage and then Butler that are interspliced in the same scene, and it just really, especially at the beginning, and I'm like, wait a minute.
I do think
really love
it's
that.
freaky. It's freaky.
I do think that there is some pretty interesting editing going on. Like there are at times like with that stuff, I think it's good, and then there's some times where there should be some more editing, and but I find Baz Luhrmann fascinating just through the process of like, and probably like to talk to people behind the scenes to see like what a process he would, like a film of his goes through. Like it's got to be one of the most insane experience anyone ever works with, but he works with a lot of people consistently. But Josh, you were going to say something?
Yeah, to say something actually in this movie's favor, I will agree that a lot of it does have the very standard musician biopic tropes, but it differs in one very particular manner for me that I actually do kind of respect, and that is Tom Hanks. That character is this weird framing device for this movie that I think if it was a different actor, I would be a lot more on board with. I do think Tom Hanks is not quite the right person for this character, but because he is so weird and gives this different perspective of it, that is something that is wildly different than what we normally see in this kind of subgenre. So I did appreciate the attempt to introduce that. The execution maybe isn't quite that great, but for an effort to try to break up some of the tropes that we normally see, I will at least give the movie that credit.
The use of the unreliable narrator is a pretty fun one, but because he is such an absolute mustache twirling villain, you are given no choice but to completely be in Elvis's camp from the first shot to the last.
Yeah.
And I will say, I kind of loved that what Tom Hanks was doing with that. It is camp. It is complete and utter camp, as only Baz Luhrmann can do camp. And it's something that I don't think I've ever seen Tom Hanks even approach doing in anything before.
I mean, a little bit of Cloud Atlas, I would say.
A little bit in Cloud Atlas, as
Little Lady Killers.
The Tom Tykwer part. But I know that's a lot of people's biggest bone of contention with this movie is Tom Hanks, and I thought that was great. I thought the energy that he provided the movie really fit with what Baz was doing with the direction, and I, like you said, Eric, I like that sort of the introduction of that unreliable narrator element. I do think that having that in there is almost like a built-in defense against you didn't talk about these controversies. I'm like, well, why would Colonel Tom Parker talk about that? Why would he have an opinion about those things? So, and I think like that's fine if that's a story you want to tell. I don't, it's weird because there are so many parts of the film that don't include Colonel Tom Parker that it almost
it doesn't
lost. It doesn't quite work. But that said, I just think on the whole, the movie is so crazy and energetic and just unlike anything else. Even though, and I appreciate that, like it does follow all the standard birth to death tropes, but arguably those tropes were set because of Elvis's life. Like he's sort of the original tragic rock star in some ways. That you can't fuck around with that part of the history. Like,
I mean, tropes are like cliches. They're there because they're real. That is a commonplace thing in that industry. So that's why these stories feel the same, because history repeats itself so much.
Yeah. And I will say that, for all that I love the movie, I do fully acknowledge that it is not without its problems. It definitely has them. And Josh and I were talking earlier, and he had said that he would have liked it more if it had just been focused on that time period when he was performing at the International, or or at least using that as a framing device. And I have to say, I completely agree. I think that would have been a much more interesting way to structure a biopic if they did want to do the cradle to the grave thing, than just have it go more straightforward like this movie did, even though it does kind of play around a little. I would have liked to have seen that version of the movie. And also I would never have guessed that a major theme of the movies of 2022 would be directed by cocaine. But here we are.
Cocaine really has sponsored a lot this year.
I tell you, like when they opened on Colonel Tom sick in the hospital and focusing on that IV drip, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And every time we go through that zoom drone shot into the International in Vegas that flips upside down and through the waterfall, and I was like, I surrender.
Yeah, that opening was like the beginning of Romeo and Juliet, and I'm like,
times 10.
You got me.
Yeah,
you got me. I'm here.
Yeah. And it is that opening, but it extends for like the first half hour. That's not. It's incredible.
And that's where it, like, for me, I just like it for the first hour, this movie is just moving at such a crazy pace that it is hard for it to keep up with itself at a certain point. And I think within that, there's a lot of cliches and not a lot of great performances outside of Butler, but it is moving so quick. You're like, wait, you don't get to sit down. And I did kind of appreciate that a little bit, because that does provide like a life into what it would be like for him. I mean, Elvis Presley is a guy that had to buy out movie theaters because of the fact that he couldn't go and do normal things, or he was mostly a recluse at his house or in that hotel room. And I do agree with you, Josh. Like, I think that part where he's at the International Hotel would have been an interesting way to just kind of frame the whole thing and the tragic downfall and maybe do flashbacks. I think also too, to Eric, what you were saying earlier, which is like, if the movie wanted to end with the special, you could go, with the special being the framing device and go with flashbacks into how he met Colonel Tom Parker and how their relationship got to this point, and really dive into more of the eccentricities and the details behind that special. And like I told Eric offline, I think that's where you could have dived even more into not having to use the framing device, could have dived into his political and personal feelings on what was going on in the world, and done it in a way where it felt more genuine rather than rushed. And so those moments when Dr. King or when JFK passed away, they do feel more than just like, oh my God, this is terrible, let's write a song about it. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what it felt like. And you're just like, come on. But
I mean,
the special stuff recreated is great, though.
Nobody regards Elvis Presley as a civil rights activist. He was astute for Richard Nixon, which is not even in here, and like one of the most famous parts of his career.
Yes.
But I'm thinking now, though, that as monumental as the 68 special was, the Hawaii special, and ending there is really the right place for it, because that was actually even bigger. Yeah. And then we do finally get to see, Big Elvis.
Yeah. Which, by the way, too, I got to say this about Big Elvis in this. When he's Big Elvis inside the limo, that's not big. Come on now.
I kept thinking, I'm like, I know what year this is.
That's BS.
He's still too
skinny.
Slender.
Like, you couldn't put a fat suit on Tom Hanks.
When he gets to Hawaii, there is just a physical fatigue in him, and Butler is so good in that there at the piano with that camera 2 inches from his face.
Wait,
and unclockable makeup.
Wait, that was
there's both.
Yeah. Okay, that's where the editing comes from.
It starts with him, and then it moves
then it transitions just to
to the by the end. Okay.
I mean, those are some pretty great moments. But
Yeah.
Also, I want to highlight how fucking amazing this soundtrack is.
Incredible.
Absolutely incredible. Some of these Doja Cat. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
As we have come to expect from a Baz Luhrmann film, the soundtrack is unimpeachable.
It's something.
Stevie Nicks and Chris Isaac on
Yes!
Candyland. Get the fuck out of here.
Casey Musgraves too. Pretty great. I loved her rendition.
Casey Musgraves, And Gary Clark Jr.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
It's such a good soundtrack.
Yeah. If only the soundtrack was as good as the movie. Anyway, but anybody else got anything else to say before we get into top 3 musical biopics? Because I think everybody's going to see the film. They really like it, and
I'll say one thing.
Last thing, Dan Bayer.
Because I do want to specifically mention your incredibly wrong take that this is on the same level of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, I think it is.
I mean,
this film, at the very least, has a point of view, which you could not say for Bohemian Rhapsody. And like, granted, the making of that movie, there's enough changing hats and people on that movie to say, okay, maybe you want to give it a pass. But this may not have a lot to say, and it certainly doesn't have as original or interesting a point of view as like Rocket Man did, with literally turning Elton John's life into a musical, the effectiveness of which is okay. But it certainly has much more of a point of view and sense of style and aesthetic that is reflective of the life of the artist it's portraying than Bohemian Rhapsody, which is just a fucking hack job.
It's just even regardless of how you feel about either film, it's just a terrible comparison. It just is. Sorry, it's obtuse. It's I think intentionally a bad comparison.
No, I don't think so. I think that they're both musical biopics, and I know what you're trying to do, Eric. But no, I in all honesty, I think that the goals are sort of, for me, they feel the same, which is to paint, this figure as a very positive figure without looking at the flaws. And I don't think both films even do.
Opposite of that. No. Bohemian Rhapsody absolutely destroys Freddie Mercury because Brian May is such a piece of shit. So it absolutely destroys his legacy. This is the opposite of what Elvis does.
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody erases large portions of Freddie Mercury's legacy.
It villainizes him.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't want to get into that.
That's all I mean as being a bad comparison. Not in terms of how you feel about the quality of the film. It's just not a comparison.
I will say that you guys are correct. There is more style to this film than Bohemian Rhapsody. But there for me,
a style.
There
is style, period.
Other than wannabe Baz Luhrmann editing,
and Austin Butler is supremely better than Rami Malek for sure. But I still felt the same cold sort of just eye roll. Yeah, I'm like, great, another biopic just wasted down the drain, my life and time. And that's why I think transitioning over to like our top 3 musical biopics, this is where no, it's not too hard. It's so easy.
I have a list of like 50.
Well, you got to do 3.
But I know my number 1 because that'll never change.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. But is that I think that there are great films within this genre that really do transcend or are so good that even if they do have the tropes, they are able to do them in such a compelling way that make them stand out. So we're going to do our top 3s here. We're not doing top 5s because we don't have all day for that. But it was long last week with top 5 Pixar. So I whittled it down to 3 and it made it a little bit easier.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, I know it was. That's why I host the show. But anyway, we'll go Josh, then Dan, then Eric, then myself. So Josh, did you have any, by the way, we did disqualify, or we at least penalty boxed Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping, and Walk Hard because they're not really real figures. Though, if we wanted to, we could have put them on the list. And
if it counted, Walk Hard especially would.
Yeah, Walk Hard.
I feel like that should be required viewing for
Yeah.
anybody who is about to make a musician biopic. Like,
Yeah.
watch this for all the lessons of what you should not do.
I'd
Like,
sit down with
or,
Baz
or
Luhrmann
before
just
they see Elvis.
Yeah, or before they see Elvis. Because if you recently seen Walk Hard Before Elvis, that's gonna really skew you in one way or the other.
Like, it's a perfect satire. I love that film.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
But anyway, Josh, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is a movie that actually on the surface, I would say feels like it would be very, very standard, but I appreciated its efforts to actually try to do something different. And that is Get On Up.
Oh,
Because I think that is a movie that when you first look at it, it just seems like it's going to be just by the numbers, so basic. I mean, it's directed by Tate Taylor, for goodness sake. Like, can't get more average of a filmmaker than that man. But I remember
not really looking in the auteur direction,
exactly,
right, Josh?
But I remember when that movie first started, it even begins with sort of he's got to think about his whole life before he performs. And the first scene right after that, before he goes on stage, is James Brown being mad at people in his office because they pooped in his office toilet.
Yeah.
Like, and that just sets up this very kind of weird tone throughout the whole movie. There's also these like fantasy sequences that happen too. And I found it to be a lot more subversive in the tropes of this subgenre than I was expecting. And you get an amazing Chadwick Boseman performance. I mean, just incredible in that film. So yes, like I said, on the surface, it has a lot of standard things you would expect to see in these types of movies, but enough of its own personality that surprised me. And I ended up really liking it in the end.
Yeah, that's an honorable mention for me. And that's actually my favorite Chadwick Boseman performance. I think he's just giving it his all on that. Does anybody else have Get On Up in their top 3?
Same. That was also actually my number 3.
Oh,
I don't think it's a great movie, but there were a lot of times actually while watching Elvis that I was reminded of Get On Up, particularly in the Little Richard scene, which is done so poorly in Elvis, but he is a fantastic, fascinating figure in Get On Up, I think. And I completely agree. It is 100% Chadwick Boseman's best performance. He should have gotten an Oscar nomination for it. It is completely out of this world, and I would think Viola Davis is really good in it, in a part that is kind of underwritten.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, well, we just got through number 3s real quick for both Josh and Dan. So Erik, your number 3?
This is so hard. I looked at just the variety of musical biopics that we have and that we talked about earlier, of how you can do something like a paint by numbers or just a section of their life or a very weird version, you know, that just allows you to step outside the Wikipedia entry version. So my 3 aren't even necessarily my actual top 3. I just wanted to provide a wider base, I think, of the things that I like and why I like them, because I don't know. It's really difficult.
All right.
And I'm already going to be changing this like as I speak, because
there we go. Good Lord.
I
gave you time. You know about this.
I think my number 3 is Coal Miner's Daughter.
Yeah.
A fantastic choice.
I don't know. It's the 80s were such a fun, fantastic time for musical biopics between like this and Sweet Dreams and Bird and Round Midnight. There was like it was such a great era of them. But I think Sissy Spacek had the most fascinating career trajectory in such a short time. Just the space between Carrie and Coal Miner's Daughter is so small, but you can see all of her inner workings in that. And I think it is one of the best female performances of all time. I think Tommy Lee Jones is brilliant. Beverly D'Angelo, Lord,
she's so good.
When you take traditional comedians and you put them in dramatic roles and you give them the script that is worth their time, they will earn it. like every time. And D'Angelo is extraordinary here. I love this Oscar win for Spacek too. It was just at the right time too, I think, for her. And I think it's just a great movie.
Yeah. Does anybody else have Coal Miner's Daughter on their list that they want to talk about? Does anybody else? Josh?
I do not, but it's an honorable mention. I do really like that film. And I think it's one that, because it is sort of one of the OGs of this format, people don't speak about it as highly as I think they should, but it's really, really well done. And I do think that Sissy Spacek, that's a great performance. Like I know we have to mourn Mary Tyler Moore not winning that Oscar that year for Ordinary People, but it's hard for me to completely go with that, because I think Sissy Spacek is an equally deserving winner of Best Actress.
Yeah, that movie would probably be in my top 5, mostly for Sissy Spacek performance. She's just incredible.
She's incredible in that movie, no, for sure. My number 3 is from Todd Haynes. In mine's I'm Not There.
Stretching it.
I love it because I think that it is upending the genre, and it is doing something different and unique, and it is taking a life in Bob Dylan, who has gone through a plethora of changes and had so many different phases of his career, and having 6 different actors play, maybe even more. From my recollection. Yeah. I know, but it feels like there's like tons of others, and having the different segments played by different actors and different styles and everything, and having those sort of intersect throughout the film too. I love this film, and I remember seeing it when it came out at the time, and it was just kind of blown away that you could even do this and sort of get away with it, and talk about a soundtrack. Just like so many artists came and contributed to helping out and putting their voice to Bob Dylan's work here. And I think Christian Bale's fantastic. He gets to play sort of 2 different versions of Dylan. He gets to play like the breakout folk singer, and then he gets to play the gospel version of Dylan. And then you have Ledger playing kind of like the movie star. And then of course, obviously Cate Blanchett plays the rock star era of Bob Dylan, and I think is fantastic and one of her best performances. Even Richard Gere, who plays like old man, sort of reclusive Bob Dylan, he's fantastic. I really love this movie. It's one that I've always for years said I wish the Criterion Collection would restore and give the treatment to, because I really think it's one that sort of deserves it. And I don't think a lot of people really talk about it enough within, Haynes's extremely fantastic filmography too. And it comes from that great year of 2007, which I would argue was the greatest year of cinema in the millennium period. So yeah, I would go with I'm Not There. What? There's a lot of great films from 2007. Come on, guys.
No, it's funny. I'm also looking at my list, and 2007 has two films on it that I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Question, Ryan.
Yes.
Is the name Bob Dylan said at all in that movie?
It is deeply, deeply implied. All that music is his.
Okay, so that's a no.
Yeah. So I said he was stretching it. It's not officially.
I mean, I'm willing to count it. I am. It
counts. I mean,
wanting to.
I get what you. Yeah. Trying to catch me in semantics, aren't you, Mr. Parham? I get it. But no, I mean, they're not. If I know that, what is it that they're talking about making one with Timothée Chalamet that's going to be more traditional, I guess, or whatever. To me, I don't think you need to do it. This is perfectly fine. Though what it is, and I believe he did sign off on it. So it does have that. Sort of
I mean, I'm willing to count it because like it's Bob Dylan.
It's Bob Dylan. We all know who it is. There's no question about it. So nobody else has that on their list.
I was gonna have it as my number 2.
But then you're like, no,
as an example of doing something different with the genre. But I did pull back a little bit just because it's real, but it's not real. But
it's real.
I'll allow it.
Okay. Thank you. Weirdly.
Yeah.
I got your seal of approval.
I think it's funny though that you're full in for this, but you were so against the Broadway musical that used his music, and you were so like, why would you ever use his music for this? It just was a strange thing.
I mean, Yeah, it's because this exists, and I don't need something
Okay.
else. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I love this movie, and I think it's like we already like. I don't want the Chalamet thing. Like I said, like this is perfect the way it is. We don't need to do it. Move on, you know. But
Chalamet's just gonna look like Kate Blanchett.
oh god, he's so gonna
in
just
the
look like Kate Blanchett.
I mean,
Nah.
if it ever gets made, the first like
Gonna stay
production
more
still,
inside just to get paler. Just as
I'm
much as
already
her,
gonna
you know?
get it set up and put like a side by side of him and Blanchett because I know it's gonna be exactly the same.
Absolutely. Well, he technically kind of looks like that in French Dispatch.
That's what I'm saying.
There you go.
You can see it.
It's building. We're getting
happening.
there. We're getting there. Josh, you're number 2.
My number 2 is a movie that admittedly I have not seen in a very long time, but it has stayed with me ever since I did first see it. And that is because of what I think is the best performance of this actor's career. And that is Sid and Nancy.
Oh, all right.
I think
Josh.
Gary Oldman is just brilliant in this movie. Like I said, I think it's the best performance he's ever given. And
yeah.
I mean, that whole scene just in general, I am just super fascinated with the whole like counterculture of the 80s with what was going on politically. And it's just just really interesting subject matter to begin with. And then you place this, this dysfunctional relationship at the center, but it's so magnetic at the same time. And as I said, I think that Gary Oldman is just giving a masterclass performance in that film. I think he should have won the Oscar for that. And I think it's a really pretty excellent film.
Yeah. Oh, I love that movie. Does anybody have Sid and Nancy in their top 2 left?
Spoiler alert, it's my number 1.
There it is.
Oh.
And it has been my number 1 musical biopic for 35 years.
Yes.
I am ashamed to admit that this is one of my blind spots. I haven't seen Sid and Nancy.
Damn.
know.
You can catch it. It's in the Criterion collection, and the sale's coming out soon, so you could get it.
There is a plan.
Yeah. I love that movie. It's Oldman, and an actor that I know that we all go back and forth on what's good in his career and what's not good, but that one I think that's a pretty damn special performance, and it's a star turning one for sure. Eric, why do you like it so much?
So this came out in 1986. I was 15. This was when I was deep in my like punk era. I was constantly like fighting myself between the punk that I loved and then like Madonna and Boy George and the pop of that. So I was going back and forth just like physically, I would mirror whatever I was feeling in the moment. I've seen this movie, I think, close to 300 times. There was a period in high school where I watched it every single day on VHS for like over a year. This was, I think the only thing I had known Oldman from was Prick Up Your Ears at that point. So it was just like
another good movie.
Yeah. Yes, this era of British film, this and like My Beautiful Laundrette were just kind of like giving me all of the things that I needed to as a teenager. But I saw this as moving and playing with the pieces of musical biopics just a lot, not a whole lot, just a little bit. There are some like fantasy style moments and sequences. His My Way doesn't feel like it's a real thing. It's genius. I loved the idea of picking out, and Sid Vicious wasn't a side character from the Sex Pistols. He was the most visible and flamboyant and craziest and had the most explosive demise. It is an incredibly quotable, ridiculous movie. And seriously, no slouch is Chloe Webb in this as Nancy Spungen, the other greatest performance in a musical biopic that I can think of. Oh my God, when they're at the hotel and everything's horrible and he says, it'll be fine when we get to America. And she's like, we're in America. Oh my God. I love that. Between that and being at Nancy's house with the family trying to eat, and he's just kind of slopping around, and the grandmother is just so confused, and Chloe Webb's "fuck you, grandma." Just, I have said that, not to my grandmother, but just like said that just as like a dismissive side. Oh my God, it's just too funny. But musically, I think it is exciting. I think Alex Cox captures an enormous amount of sympathy from very seemingly unsympathetic people. Oh my God, the slow motion scene when they're kissing by the trash can. Just how do you not? I just get goosebumps thinking about it. How it finds the ways to try and understand what seems like something completely outside of a regular person's scope. And I think that's what any good biopic kind of should do anyway, is finding the moments and the things that are relatable and understandable. And oh my God, my feelings about this movie are, I can barely put into words, even though that was a really long thing I just said.
Don't worry, we'll edit it all out and just say it's good, and then we'll just yeah.
Perfect.
That's good. Anyway, down to Dan for your number 2, Dan Bayer.
So I was sort of worried if this would actually count or not, but then you threw out "I'm Not There." So my number 2 is Superstar, the Karen Carpenter story. One of Todd Haynes' earliest things, and so controversial that it has never seen an official release. But it is fucking brilliant. The use of just a Barbie doll to represent Karen Carpenter, that they shaved down as the insecurities and anorexia get worse, and using that while over her original vocals and everything, I think is so impactful. And even though it's short, it is in some ways the perfect length.
Mm-hmm.
It gets in, it says what it needs to say, and it doesn't overstay its welcome, which so many musical biopics do.
Yeah.
And it isn't just one moment. It isn't quite Cradle to the Grave, if I remember correctly, but it's close.
Mm-hmm.
But it does it in very short, compact package, and it makes its point very powerfully and very viscerally.
No, that's great. I have not seen it actually. So it's
I used to have a VHS copy.
Yeah.
It goes on and off YouTube, like every couple months. So look for it. It is well worth your time.
Yeah, it's part of like that ongoing problem of if it's not picked up by like Criterion or some of these other archival places, then movies are getting just kind of forgotten about or disappearing.
Well, this was always a copyright issue, and
it was always
anything else.
Well, that doesn't help either.
Yeah, it would never, ever.
It'll never see an official release ever.
Never, ever.
Never ever say never ever, I guess. I don't know what's gonna happen. Well, you know what's gonna happen is Eric, you're number 2.
Oh my God. I forgot, since I basically just did my number 1 and like spent so much goddamn time with it.
Shit.
Oh my God. After Superstar, I don't even.
How do you follow that up, right?
I don't even want to pick a number 2. I'm embarrassed.
Superstar was always your number 2. It was always going to be there.
Oh my God. The more that I think about it, the more I'm just kind of like going with some generally pretty traditional biopics, which is so unfortunately basic of me. But
it's okay. They're movies you love.
I don't care.
Yeah.
So this movie has what I feel should have been the best actor and best actress winners of its year. Most certainly best actress, and it's not a question for me. And that is What's Love Got to Do with It.
Yeah.
It is a total, like, not cradle to the grave, because she was not dead at the time, but essentially for all intents and purposes, it was childhood to like right now. So it hits all of the same kind of beats and moments. And I did not mean a bad pun with that. But I think what Angela Bassett and what Lawrence Fishburne do together is so just, it is explosive and combustive, as it should be. But I think Bassett is on just kind of a slightly different level. I mean, yes, she is the sympathetic person in the story, which makes Fishburne's job harder. I mean, there isn't really a place where, there is an avenue to sympathize or like him, and that's okay. You don't have to do that. But yeah, I think Bassett does not really look much like her. Shouldn't sound much like her. And that was one of the best parts about that, is that it never felt like mimicry. It just felt like a person. And when you're not trying so hard in any type of biopic to just manipulate the audience into thinking that they're seeing something that they're not, you get to see inside. You get to really see. And I think Bassett's performance is so. I know this is like a scene that kind of just keeps coming back.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
Runs across the traffic to go and get that room. Oh my God. It just breaks down more than just, acting and performance, but just a person to their absolute bottom and core, and just struggling to have the most dignity that you can have in that moment. And she just is flawless in that moment.
Yeah, no. Does anybody have that as their number one? Dan, Josh, do you have that as your number one?
No, but again, honorable mention. It is really good, especially for that Bassett performance. And even Fishburne, yes, good. Clearly Incredible. She's better. But as you said, Eric, that is a very difficult character to play.
Yeah.
And the fact that he can play it in those notes that he does, and you are not completely repulsed, like you don't, like you obviously you hate him, but you're still fascinated by every decision that he makes as an actor in that film. Like that takes talent to pull off. And it's a great performance from him as well.
Oh my God. It's outstanding, because what he does is he shows the fear and the vulnerability that Ike Turner had, but of losing her. And it's in his eyes when he is at his most violent or his most scary. So he's not just like a physical villain. You just see it.
Yeah.
And that's all Fishburne.
Who won actor and actress that year?
It doesn't matter.
It was Holly Hunter and Tom Hanks for Philadelphia.
And Holly Hunter was,
it's okay. I mean, Holly Hunter is
it's hard to argue against.
But
those are pretty close though. I mean, it's tough.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Those are coin flips.
Yeah. It is one of those, like, in any
You're
other
like, come on.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's unfair. No, yeah, for sure. No, but I think I still would give it a Bassett. Yeah.
I would too, but it's very close.
Yeah, it's very close.
Yeah, I mean, she's a force of nature.
Because Hunter should have won for broadcast news.
Yes. Yes. That is another show for another time. The Holly Hunter episode of the show. Let's do it. My number two is one of the more recent biopics that's come out within the last couple of years, and that is Love and Mercy.
I was wondering if that was going to show up here.
I love this movie. I think it's great because of the fact that you get to see the full you get to see both sides of Brian Wilson in this movie, and particularly the Dano sections of him making pet sounds are just, I think, everything of what Bohemian Rhapsody wanted it to be, and then some, because it's like he's bringing. I mean, when he's bringing in those animals and he's doing all of it, and then he's making. And I always find it funny, just like because it's very true in that the other bandmates of the Beach Boys did not like where they were going with this, and this is their masterpiece of a record and everything. And yes, then you have the other stuff with Elizabeth Banks and John Cusack, who's I think is extraordinary in the film too. And then of course you have Giamatti, who's like living in this sort of genre as the guy that Tom Hanks wanted to play in Elvis kind of too, as like the manager that's taking all the money and everything. But I think it's done in such a less generic and more earnest in just touching way too. And it's unlike, there's two biopics that have come out within the last like 10-15 years, and it's this one, and one that's a little bit lesser and not truly paint by, or is not by the books, it's loosely, and that's Ethan Hawke in Born to Be Blue about Chet Baker, and that one's more of a fictionalized account rather than this. And I think that those though came out roughly around the similar time, and I was like, okay, if we're gonna do biopics, this is how we have to do it. We're gonna do it in more stripped down, sort of real character based human emotion, or we're going to try to do something loose and different and make them really just these very personal, intimate dramas about these figures. And I think they both really work, but I really think Love and Mercy does. And Paul Dano should have been nominated for a motherfucking Oscar, as he should have for There Will Be Blood as well. He is phenomenal in that movie. And the fact that he just didn't get any traction is just, I'll never understand it, because he's delivering so much in that movie, alongside, obviously Cusack playing the older version, but yeah, gotta give him a shout out for that one. He's fantastic in that movie. So yeah,
that is such an underseen film.
Yeah.
Compared to how big the Beach Boys remain. It's kind of amazing.
It really is. Like the fact that like they're one of the top selling artists of all time, and yet nobody even knows about this movie. It was such a small release. It's not making like Elvis and Bo Rap or Rocket Man numbers, you know what I mean? But obviously you could say that the Beach Boys and Brian Wilson's influence on music is just as grand in the trajectory of history. So I believe we are up to Josh and his number one. Josh, what is your number one musical biopic?
So I will admit I was a little torn about this, not because I don't fully believe that this is my number one, but because it does not really fit within what we expect of this genre.
You're gonna have the same number one as me, aren't you?
We are, Dan. But by definition, we are talking about movies that are based on people that actually lived, who were musicians. And so by taking it literally, that is definitely this movie. And that is Amadeus.
There can be no other.
I agree, Josh, because it's my number one too. 3 out of 4 here. It's our number one. So
I mean, it just feels so very clearly to me, as Dan said, like it's a masterpiece of filmmaking on every single level. Those performances, the crafts, the directing, the writing, like it's my second favorite Best Picture of all time. It's like, it is just incredible as a piece of cinema. And there's like no other option for me, even though, yes, it just feels weird to include it on this list because it's, about a subject that's, centuries old, but it fulfills the definition that we're going for. And if it does, then there could be no other selection for me.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where like, it's not technically a biopic. It's not really cradled to the grave sort of thing, but you get 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah.
You get Mozart and you get Salieri, and 2 of the best performances ever committed to film. Just, I know, F. Murray Abraham deserved every inch of that Oscar.
Yes.
One of the best performances, but Tim Hulse too is so spectacular as Mozart.
No, No, we're not.
better.
He's good, but he's not better, Eric.
Tom
Hot
Hulse should have
take,
won.
Eric.
Tom Hulse should have won.
Well, Eric, you were around that era.
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
not when the movie came out, when the actual time period was. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I know exactly what you meant.
Yep.
Thank you.
no, I agree with it. I mean, it's kind of, old hat, I guess, right now. But no, it's a fantastic film. I really hadn't seen it all the way through till 2020, because the fact that I always caught it on TV or Turner Classic Movies at like random times, and everything I saw at it, I was like, man, this is fantastic. And I actually sat down and I watched the whole thing, from the beginning, and then I had to flip the disc, you know what I mean? Because it's so long, and because I watched the director's cut, and it's just fantastic. It's one of those movies too, where you're just like, one, I miss intermissions, because intermissions in cinema, like, they had it right back then, where you're like, where you got to tell a full story, and movies got to breathe a little bit, and the audience had patience for stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And
no phones.
And it was an event. It was like,
vibes.
it was just fantastic. And I agree with you, Josh. It's like in my top 5 for best picture winners. It's as perfect, I think, of a movie as you can have. And yeah, you wouldn't think about it, right? Because usually nowadays it's movies like Elvis or Bo Rap, where it's like these loud, bombastic films, but this is a drama epic at the best way it can be, and it's just a perfect movie. And those performances, I mean, that scene at the end where they're riding in the bed, in the bed and everything, it's just like
one of the greatest scenes ever put to film.
Fucking so cinema good. Right here. You know what I mean?
So good.
Like, it's so good. I love it. I love it.
We miss you, Milos Forman.
We do.
Oh, yes.
We do. One of the only directors to have multiple best picture films in their filmography. Yeah.
Deserved both of them.
I remember watching this and I was pretty young at the time.
Yes.
You
were young enough.
And it was, I just felt like it was really, really gay. And
you think?
Yeah. It's incredibly gay.
I know it is, but I'm like, at the time, I was just like, it was not what I was expecting.
What do you mean this bitch is better than me?
I know, and I'm just like,
Salieri was the original petty ass.
This actually does now deserve a drag remake.
Yes,
absolutely.
The full 3 hours.
Yes.
This is the same length as Elvis, by the way, like exactly the same length.
Really?
Wow.
2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, the theatrical cut.
Oh, the theatrical cut.
This is one of those things that, like, I get director's cut being a thing, but like, we will never be able to see, the three of us, what Eric saw in the theaters when he saw Amadeus.
I actually have seen the theatrical cut, though.
It's
been a while.
very
it's no
rare.
Longer, yeah, it's no longer available.
It's not available to buy anywhere.
I don't know why.
I need a 4K of this movie, period.
But you're absolutely right, Ryan. This is an era where epics and movies of this length, they filled every minute of that movie with real content. There is no filler here at all.
Yeah, it's why those movies stand the test of time. It's one of the greatest movies ever made. Period. In a story.
Absolutely.
It's probably going to force a rewatch soon.
You think just for you? It's going to force me to do it.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. Does Josh, do you have any like honorable mentions that just barely didn't make your list?
The only other one that I would mention just as a shout out is I actually really like the movie Control.
That's on my list.
Yeah. I mean, that's another one that I haven't seen it in a very long time, but just the first time I did see it, it left such an imprint on me, and just the way that movie looks. I love what's the director's name? Anton Corbijn.
Anton Corbijn.
Yeah, Anton Corbijn.
Yeah.
I love his just whole aesthetic too, and the beautiful black and white. And it's one of the few times I have found Sam Riley tolerable as an actor. So points for that as well. I really did like Control.
Hell yes. I mean, the only reason it couldn't be on my list because of my way of thinking is having Sid and Nancy and having Control is too much in the same like era and style and so I just wanted to break that up. But oh my god, yeah, it's on my list.
Yeah. Dan, do you have any honorable mentions?
I do. One that I ended up deciding, and both of these really are ones that I kind of decided didn't really fit because they're kind of not musicians exactly. They're topsy-turvy about Gilbert and Sullivan, who really like kind of more lyricists.
Love that movie.
Which is so good. And the other one is a similar case, DeLovely, with Kevin Kline as Cole Porter.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
Which I have sort of this irrational love for. I love the conceit of that movie, and they state these songs that were so the reason that he was so famous. They got equal weight to his life, and hearing those performances and seeing them in full is something that we rarely actually get to do in a lot of these biopics in the way that this does it. And there's something about that movie that I really love, and I thought it's very underappreciated.
For sure. Eric, what's the laundry list that you have as a honorable mentions list here?
Well, I mean, I threw some of them out there to kind of like get them in under there, like
just delete them
and around midnight, because, like I said, the '80s are just to me the greatest period for biopics about musicians. I think it's the best. But I am really excited with newer stuff like Rocket Man and Tick Tick Boom. That also play with the genre enough to be exciting and different, and feature extremely compelling lead performances.
For sure. I know that it was picked apart, and the subject of being picked apart by Walk Hard, but I do like Walk the Line. I do like Joaquin Phoenix's performance and Reese Witherspoon in that film. I know it's very standard and everything, but I just remember I think it's James Mangold's direction, the way he's able to do it too, and he's just one of the best we have working today. And then I grew up watching Selena a lot, so kind of an icon down here and everything, and J-Lo's performance in that is iconic. I mean, it's iconic. It's fantastic. And if I could recommend another one that is a more recent film that kind of went under the radar, it's another one that Ethan Hawke directed. It's called Blaze, and it's about Blaze Foley.
I really like that movie too.
I love that movie. And
who's the main guy who played him?
Ben Dickey.
Yeah, I honestly think he should have gotten the Best Actor nomination.
He's so good. It's kind of like almost like a play, or sort of a riff off of the kind of style of like a Inside Llewyn Davis sort of Coen Brothers meets Linklater vibe, obviously because of Ethan Hawke directing it and everything. But it is truly a fantastic film, and kind of unwritten from 2018. So and you can stream that somewhere out in the ether or whatever. But it's a really good one. But there's a lot of ones that we said here. So watch a lot of these movies. Forget about Elvis, and you'll
can't wait to revisit these lists next year when the greatest musical biopic of all time, Papa Don't Preach, is released.
Yes, we will revisit this when the Madonna movie comes out. We will revisit this because it will be obviously in the awards conversation.
Obviously.
So we'll be talking about it all year.
It's weird
Ryan will quit.
It's weird that movie is going to be called Die Another Day too. It's kind of crazy. Wow, it's the sequel we never thought we were going to get.
I mean, look, there are so many possible titles for that movie. I can't wait.
It better be a good one.
It's going to be such a bad one. They're going to pick a bad name for it, but
she had
in my heart
like a working title on it that was not a song title at all. So we'll see what how much pressure Universal puts on her to just make it a song title, because I I feel like they will absolutely try and force that, and she will just tell them to go fuck themselves.
Just like anything but express yourself, because
That's exactly
Well,
what
love
it's
that
going to be now.
song.
I
But
mean,
It's gonna be
that
that now.
title.
If it ends at the Blonde Ambition tour, don't be surprised.
I know.
I wouldn't be surprised with that. I will say this:
Just
we are
call
in,
it Blonde Ambition at that point. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's the name of the Blacklist script that she has refused to allow see the light of day. So
I know.
We are kind of in a new era right now, or a renaissance of it too, because we had like movies like Respect last year, and then there's the Whitney Houston biopic coming out, and then there's one about Michael Jackson, there's one about Madonna. They're going to do that, like I said, that one about Bob Dylan in the works with Chalamet. So we're seeing an abundance of these being made
and winning Oscars.
And being in
That's
the
why they're getting
conversation.
made.
That's exactly
exactly.
why they're never gonna stop. Yeah.
They're never going to stop because they love
They're
the transformation.
never stopping.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Never stopping.
Judy
that's our-
Garland too.
Well, that's our top 3 musical biopics. So let's move on over to some listener questions. Got a ton of listener questions this week. So Amy Smith wants to know, is Austin Butler of Elvis fame the first serious acting contender in this year's Oscar race?
No.
No. I mean, well, it kind of depends on like how you define that.
Yeah.
And how you define like, what we're talking about, because I feel like in the lead actor category out of Sundance, Bill Nighy got serious buzz for that movie.
I think she's probably talking about things that have been released.
Yeah, and in which case,
and we still have
Michelle
everything everywhere
Yeoh.
all the time.
Yeah.
It's all at once. So it's
Yeah.
Mhm.
And cute.
Probably the first male actor and especially like you said, Dan, in that category, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
for lead actor, yes.
yes. He's what, Erik, on your predictions? He's what, number 6 right
He's
now?
still 6, and it's since I published those the day before the movie came out, and I specifically said in there, it depends on the box office. The box office is going to have to be so strong and carry it through 6 months of everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's going to have, like we said, like a 30.5 million opening. It's only like 20 million opening worldwide right now. So it's a little soft. It's a little soft.
What's the budget on it?
85. So it's it'll do fine there. Yeah. But like I said, you've got the benchmarks you have are Bohemian Rhapsody, which made 900 million, and Rocketman, which was like 200 million. So somewhere in between there, it kind of has to land.
Yeah,
certainly closer to 900, even though that's not happening. But if it sticks at 200, I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on when like the big movies come out.
There's a lot coming out. There's still so much to come out. Yeah.
There is.
Lauren Lamagno wants to know, what are your personal rankings for Baz Luhrmann films? Include Elvis if you have seen it, which we have seen Elvis. So does everybody have their Baz Luhrmann rankings ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I thought we did this. Oh wait, maybe it was just like on Twitter or something.
Okay. Dan, you want to go first?
Sure, I can.
Putting you on the spot. Sorry.
I gotta bring it up.
I can do mine.
All right, Erik, you go first then.
Yeah.
Dan's pulling that up.
In order.
Moulin
Moulin
you're gonna
Rouge.
do from top to bottom. Okay.
Of course.
Well, you can go bottom to top.
I'm not going to touch that one.
I know you're not going to touch that one.
Not going to do it. Nice try. Yes, ranked: Moulin Rouge, Strictly Ballroom, Romeo and Juliet, The Great Gatsby, Elvis, and Australia.
Okay.
Although I really like Australia. It's not that it's like garbage. It's really fun star turns.
I love Australia.
Yeah. It's indulgent and stupid. I love it.
Yeah, but perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Josh, do you have a ranking?
Yeah. as I said up front, not the biggest Lerman fan, but I will say that Strictly Ballroom is really good. I actually really do like that one. It is sort of like his style, but on a budget, which I kind of like. And he sort of doesn't have all the resources to be all that he can be. And I think that restraint is what I respond to so much with that movie.
Mhm.
I do really like that one. After that, it's a very dramatic drop in terms of how much I like these movies. But I would then say Gatsby, Great Gatsby at number 2, Moulin Rouge, Romeo and Juliet, Elvis, and Australia at the bottom, which I really do not like Australia.
And
Yeah, so number 1 is Moulin Rouge, Strictly Ballroom, then like Elvis and The Great Gatsby kind of tied right in the middle, followed by Australia, and last William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, which I love but is an unholy mess.
Yes, that it is.
That movie, I have a love-hate relationship with it.
yeah.
I that is the one where I think that like his wild and crazy ambitions really got the best of him in doing that adaptation. The best scenes in that movie are like all time great, but the rest it gives me a headache.
I am so obsessed with that movie, and it's sort of the least compelling parts are Romeo and Juliet. It's basically just like, same with West Side Story, because it's the same story. It's everybody and everything around them that are so much more compelling. So yeah, give me Harold Perrineau. Are you kidding? Talk about should have been Oscar nominated.
Oh my god.
Oh my lord. Although, DiCaprio's really fucking good in this. But John Leguizamo, the fight at the gas station, which is like basically the same fight as in Zoolander, but like not supposed to be funny. I love it. I love the cars. I love the guns. Again, just like with his stuff, visually, production design, costume design, second to none. Catherine Martin, give her 16 more Oscars, please.
Yeah. Okay, my rankings, which are going to get massive eye rolls from Erik and Dan as I do them. My number 1 is Great Gatsby. I rewatched that film recently, and I had a lot more fun than I remember having in the theater with it. Oh, by the way, I haven't seen Strictly Ballroom. That is the one that I just have not seen yet, but I plan on rectifying that soon. My number 2 is Australia. For some weird reason alone, that movie worked for me. Yeah, it's
so unabashedly, unashamedly corny.
Yeah, and that's what I think about it. My number 3 would be Romeo and Juliet. Flaws and all, that movie is just bonkers as hell. Moulin Rouge, and then Elvis. Elvis would be my least favorite so far, but I'm not like the biggest fan of Moulin Rouge. But I've been told that I need to rewatch it over and over and over again until I appreciate it by so many people. And
you need to rethink your life. It's not just rewatch the movie.
This is what I get. See,
come
folks?
on.
Yeah, this is what I
come
get.
On.
So, okay. Kinsey wants to know, given that we've had amazing direction on television from people like Ben Stiller and Jason Bateman and Bill Hader, sorry, Barry is a comedy, I know, but it is basically a drama is what she's saying. Who is another comedian you'd like to see direct either on the big screen or on the small screen? It's tough.
Yeah, this is, I didn't give myself a lot of time for this, but I was thinking Amy Poehler. I think could have a dark streak in her that could be pretty fun.
Didn't she direct Wine Country?
Yes, but she's done like Parks and Recs. But do what Bateman and Hader have done and go from pure comedy to things that are darker, because Wine Country is just dumb comedy.
I think the obvious answer is Phoebe Waller-Bridge, to be fair. You know, I mean, if she can do that with Flea, she can do just about anything. To be honest with you, Fleabag. I'm sorry. Why did I say Flea?
Yeah.
I'll stretch the definition of comedian, I think, a little bit, but I would love to see Julia Louis-Dreyfus direct something. She has such an incredible knack for dark comedy in her performances and sort of that merging of comedy and drama that I'd love to see her try to tackle something like that, like a dark thing, like a Barry episode or something like that. Yeah.
And Polar did that Lucy and Desi documentary recently.
Yeah, that's what I'm I just sort of feel like maybe she could go in that direction.
Yeah.
I like the Julia Louis-Dreyfus mention.
Yeah, that's good. Those are good. Josh, do you got anybody or?
No, not
That's
really.
okay.
And for that, I'm going to cheat and say I want another movie from Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
Wow.
Please.
Who's gonna say no to that? Yeah.
Isn't he gonna like be writing music for a Sesame Street movie? Right? Isn't that the rumor that I've heard?
That feels like something that won't ever actually happen.
Yeah, I heard that it was happening, and then like 2 weeks later, heard that it actually wasn't happening.
Okay.
We'll be talking about it in 10 years. We never got the Bo Burnham Sesame Street movie.
I gotta tell you, that would be it would kind of be like, what we got with the Muppet movie when that came out in 2000.
I would be in support of it just because that's his the O and the EGOT.
Yeah. We gotta get him that EGOT for sure.
Yes.
Nicole asks, we always talk about actors who should have had more nominations. Who's an actor who should have less nominations?
Glenn Close.
God damn it. Yeah,
Kevin Jacobson found dead in a ditch.
I'm so sorry,
Kevin. Yes.
I'm sorry, Chesko. I'm sorry, Kevin. I'm so sorry.
I mean, Eddie Redmayne. Let's take them all back.
Oh.
You only have two.
Yeah, exactly. That's too many.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't have an issue with his number of Oscar nominations. It's the Oscar nominations he got.
Yeah.
I have an issue with.
Just take them away.
I don't mind. Someone who
I'll say it. Does Meryl need to have that many?
See, yeah, that was what I was thinking of, and thinking like, if I look through her career, is the number that she has actually worth it? And maybe
there's like 5 or 6 you could probably take out.
Yeah, I guess it depend on how we're looking at this. Like every time, we say that, somebody else should have won that wasn't even nominated, then you have to figure out who's getting removed from the list of 5. And sure, I think Streep has probably taken and been the number 5 slot many times over other people.
I mean, to have 20, no, right? It's
21.
21. That's fucking insane.
Isn't it?
It's great for her, but it's also like, Jesus Christ, 21?
Yeah, I feel like whenever anybody breaks double-digit nominations, you're getting into the territory of you probably didn't deserve all of these.
The person that I will absolutely say like should not have the amount of Oscar nominations she has, regardless of whether it was for the year or for performances that she wasn't nominated for, is God love her, but Judi Dench.
I was just gonna say Judi Dench.
That last year is a prime example. Yeah.
Oh God. Mrs. Henderson Presents. Come on.
Yes.
Come on.
My God. Exactly the one that I was thinking of.
But that's the thing. And the thing that I sort of forgive is that her Oscar career is so late.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then it's just been nonstop.
Yeah.
She could piss in a bucket. It's like, supporting actress, you're in.
She ate a piece of chocolate in chocolat and got an Oscar nomination.
I'm telling you.
And she deserved it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. She's not. She was working it, that chocolate. I'll tell you that. But
she was working overtime to make that thing work. But
it's not chocolate, it's chocolat. All right, let's just get it right. Any actors, like any male actors besides? I said Redmayne, but anybody else? No, a lot of women. So wait, did you say what I think you just said? Did you say Bradley Cooper?
I am setting fires today.
All right, Eric, I agree.
I would say Jake Gyllenhaal. Oh wait,
Oh, womp, womp.
I'm not. I didn't say either to be mean at all. I'm looking at people that have lots and
he does have a lot.
Haven't won and maybe didn't need them all. And obviously Streep was an easy answer.
Trying to think.
I mean, in that same vein, you can probably find some nominations that Jack Nicholson got.
I was gonna say,
Nicholson, yeah,
he won one for one he shouldn't have gotten in for.
Yeah, true.
So
as good as it gets.
Yep.
Okay.
Obviously,
I was like,
I mean,
well, I don't know. This is a chaotic group. You never know what's going to come out of Eric's mouth.
The worst best actor, best actress pairing wins.
Oh, you love Helen Hunt's win for that, don't you?
I'm seething.
25 of that later. Lineup, she is one of the better ones.
It's a bad lineup, to be fair.
Bad lineup.
Sure. Jacob wants to know, who do you think is the most overdue actor or actress currently working today who has yet to win an Oscar?
Glenn Close.
I was gonna say,
God damn it, Eric.
I'm looking at my list, at my paper, and she's the only name on both of those questions.
Yeah.
So hopefully I have earned the follow back from Kevin and Chesko.
There you go. There you go. It's a good question to ask. I mean, I would have kind of said Chastain, and then she won it last year. She had, and she had done a lot, and she wanted it too.
Well, they all do.
I mean, they all do. I mean,
yeah.
I love thirsty nominees though. You give me the Redmaynes and the Garfields and the Chastains
and the Winslets
and the Hathaways. Yeah. That's our bread and butter. Just to even like and talk about and all that.
The DiCaprios.
All of them.
Yeah. It's like, because it's the point. Like, it's boring when it's like, oh, I mean, it'd be nice if you gave it to me, but
don't pretend you don't want
no, it's the Oscar. Everybody wants this award. Let's be real about this.
Everybody wants to be us. Don't be ridiculous, Andrea.
I mean, it's cliche to say, but Amy Adams, I mean, she's just done so much, and it's just like at a certain point, just give the poor girl something.
We got to rep Tyler since he's not here.
Nah, we got to represent Tyler. I would have, for a while, I would have said Fassbender, but he hasn't really done a lot of great stuff recently.
He has 2 nominations.
He hasn't done anything for
recently.
A few years.
For a few years,
yeah.
I mean,
except for Alicia Vikander.
But man, he at a time he was just.
Can you blame him?
I mean,
yes.
The shade.
But no, usually there. I mean, are there a lot of other I feel like it's tough. I don't know of many. I mean, Oscar Isaac is probably somebody I would consider.
Samuel L. Jackson, but
Samuel L. Jackson
honorary.
You know what? I'm gonna stand up for what I know my girl Nicole would say and say Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah, Saoirse's up there.
She was kind of on a Kate Winslet path where it's like she's gonna win, but she's gonna have to do something really terrible to get it.
And then
that's true. And because when you look at it, she was the clear number 2 twice.
Yeah,
she should have won. She should have won in 2019. To be fair, she was fantastic in Little Women.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to do something as nakedly obvious as Winslet. I just don't think she's gonna.
She's one of those who will not get it until she is middle-aged.
Like a Don Cheadle or a Jeffrey Wright, also too. Just 2 great actors that.
Still waiting on Jeffrey Wright's first nomination.
Yeah. I see. I mean, the way I'm thinking about this is I wouldn't have.
Well, they're overdue. It doesn't mean that they have been nominated or not. They're overdue actors. It didn't say that specify whether they've been nominated or not. It's like they've had a long career. Right. They're overdue to get some sort of damn recognition.
But it hasn't won yet. So I was trying to kind of look at it from that.
Well,
if we are thinking about multiple nominees that haven't won yet, I would say Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Fuck yes. Talk about somebody who should have won.
No, I still don't see Rockwell in that movie. I would have given it to him for The Lighthouse, though.
Yeah, if he was nominated for that.
Yeah.
No,
he should have been nominated for that. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
No, for sure. Okay. Well, Scott wants to know, who is a filmmaker who hasn't won a competitive Oscar yet? You feel pretty confident will win one in the next 10 years. Well, since it's his birthday today, it's got to be Paul Thomas Anderson. He's got,
there it is.
How many, Eric? 11.
11. 11.
Bullshit that he didn't win last year, to be fair.
Oh.
Over Kenneth, over for screenplay, yeah. Better
It's
than
not a screenplay-y movie.
Yeah,
Better-
I mean,
yeah,
I think he
better-
should have Oscars, but not for Licorice Pizza.
Yeah, yes.
Boogie Nights.
It's a great movie. Oh, he should have direction for There Will Be Blood, to be fair. Like split. I would love a split that
That's
year.
my vote for that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I would have given that to him over the Coens.
Yeah, somebody that I think is absolutely on the trajectory is Greta Gerwig.
Oh, she's yeah.
Yeah. Now, not saying
Not
it's
for
gonna be
Barbie.
the Barbie. Not saying that, but I absolutely believe an Oscar is in
Never say never,
the
though.
very immediate future.
Yeah.
I think an obvious other person that's even already been mentioned is Bradley Cooper. Because when we talk about thirst,
Oh my God.
Oh,
that
yeah.
that's
fucking
who
maestro.
we're talking about. Oh my God, that
Yeah.
interview when he was talking about the woman that came up, who deserved that nom, but not the win.
Not the
What do you
win. Yeah.
Although I would also want to
Girl.
say to him, like, dude, you were nominated with Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln. You should have known you were not going to win.
Joaquin Phoenix for the master. Like, come on, dude. Like, now. Anyway, trying to think of other directors that would win. Oh man, I had one in my head. Obviously somebody like Nolan or Villeneuve down the road will probably. I mean, Villeneuve seems probably like maybe he could get nominated for Dune 2 if that happens, because they stumped him the first time and they love that movie. And if it's nearly on the same level as that, I mean, you do have Oppenheimer coming out, which is like,
Isn't that opening the same day as Barbie?
as of now, I don't think that
now
those,
it is.
I don't
Yeah.
think that those will hold. I think
One of
something
them is
will
going to
move.
move.
I can't wait for the Barbie girlies and the Nolan girlies to show up at the theater at the same time, like West Side Story, and just fight each other to the
Yes.
Let's
When-
go.
It's gonna be so good.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, but I think Wes Anderson's another person that'll probably.
No.
But I don't think.
See,
But I've
he's
said
one-
this. I'm sorry, Dan. Sorry, go.
I was gonna say he's one, and I kind of feel about this way about the lesser Anderson as well. That like if they haven't won one by this point,
I'm right
I
here,
cannot.
Dan.
The lesser Anderson.
The lesser Anderson meeting Paul Thomas.
My
Um,
bullshit.
I-
All right.
I just, if they haven't done it by now, I don't know what they could possibly do
They'll
to win
he's-
one
He's gonna win
in the
one.
next 10 years.
You know what it's
They
going to
will
be?
win like 20, 30 years in the future when they are the old masters who have never won.
Like
Yeah.
Scorsese style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
No, what it's going to be is he's going to win a Best Animated Feature Oscar.
for Wes Anderson.
That-
That's
yes,
what he.
Wes,
Yeah,
that would absolutely
That's
happen. If he
exactly
makes
what I was
another
gonna say,
one,
Josh.
He
Yeah.
should
Oh,
have
he will.
already.
I mean, he put animated stuff in French Dispatch too, and that was some of the best parts of that.
I mean,
film.
honestly, forget the feature. He'll just do a short, and that'll be it.
yeah, I mean,
That
he
would be
could do
nice,
that
too.
too. I mean,
I'd
yeah,
be
I
here
think
for
Wes
that.
Anderson. I think you're right, Josh. Like animated for him makes sense. And I do think Paul Thomas Anderson will win one down the road. For
Yeah.
sure.
I think he will. You
Yeah,
know,
it
it's
just
gonna take
depends
a
on which
certain
category, but
circumstances, yeah.
it'll probably most likely be screenplay.
I think it will absolutely be screenplay.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
absolutely be screenplay.
Yeah, that's where they like to celebrate and award the auteurs.
Yeah, because a lot of times actually screenplay awards are like screenplay / also kind of director too.
Yeah, it's like your set, like best director B.
Yeah, it's the
like-
consolation prize for the director. I mean, especially in original screenplay, because like I think like all of those winners since 2010 have been the directors of their movies.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's a thing.
Exactly. No. Last question, Matthew St. Clair. If you could give Amy Adams an Oscar for one of her 6 nominations, which one would it be? It has to be one of the 6. Sorry, Arrival fans out there. That wasn't nominated.
Junebug.
Junebug.
It's not even close.
Yep. Yeah.
yeah, I would probably say Junebug. If I were to say something different, probably The Master.
Yeah, the
love
Master.
her in The
Oh yeah,
Master.
she should have won. She should have won for the Master easily.
I
Easily
love her in that.
take that from Anne Hathaway, right?
No, take Rachel
yeah.
Weisz's Oscar away.
What?
And I
Yeah.
love Rachel
Not-
Weisz in the
not
Casa
Rachel Weisz,
Gardner,
son.
but like, come on.
Snore.
No,
Yeah.
she's great in that movie. I take anything away from Les Mis at this point. So even that.
I love Anne Hathaway's win. It was deserved.
Yeah,
Mm.
completely agree.
And there you go. Those are our listener questions for this week. Thank you guys out there so much for submitting those. We're going to play our game now. We're going to do a little bit more of what we did last week. We're going to do part of the ensemble, our SAG ensemble game, where I read out names of the cast from least recognized to the most recognizable. And these lovable people here have to guess. And so just we don't have like buzzers or anything. Eric's low in that department for funds for buzzers. So or like
You wouldn't
strapped
be
for
able
cash.
to see where it comes from. You'll just hear
Yeah.
a buzz and you're like, wait, who was
Yeah,
that?
exactly. So just
Got to tap your screen.
scream out something when you think you want to guess. I'll try to do the best. Last week, by the way, we did do a tally. I will do tallies this week. But I
God.
was correct. Sophia did win that last week.
Yeah, she clearly won.
She totally destroyed in that second half. She was amazing.
Oh, she was, well, it's Sophia. She's always amazing.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
Eric-
remind me the rules. These are SAG Ensemble nominees.
yes, these are nominees. It just
Okay.
doesn't have to be just the winners.
Okay.
Yes. And I might be throwing in some television ensembles this
Oh,
week.
well,
You'll never-
Pretty shady.
Oh Lord,
Pretty shady.
Will you,
especially
like-
since Tyler's not here.
Well, I will forfeit those rounds.
that'd be nice if you could tell us beforehand if it is TV or movie.
I think you should do
because-
TV on a different episode.
I think I will throw in one or two just for fun because they'll be
I
very
think
easy.
you
They'll be
are-
very easy. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Okay.
All right.
All right.
But this is a movie to start
Okay.
off with. Okay. All right. Brian Cox. Tilda Swinton. Chris Cooper. Meryl Streep.
Oh, adaptation.
Yeah.
Yes, that is
Yeah,
Eric.
sorry.
Eric,
Sorry.
don't blurt out just wait until I respond. But yes, you are
Buzz.
correct. You were the first one to
Yeah.
Buzz,
say
buzz,
it.
Yeah.
buzz.
Buzz. Thank you. Good
I'm
Lord.
gonna say buzz.
Lightyear? All right. Tilda Swinton.
The fuck?
Jared Harris.
Buzz. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Then there's also Julia Ormond and Mahershala Ali and Trash.
So wait, why is Tilda Swinton below Jared Harris on that in terms of?
screen time?
Oh, so it's screen time based, not based on like.
No, I
the
just
base-
wanted to do it for
Okay.
fun. That's all. I'm just saying
The
random names
back-to-back
here.
Tilda. Yeah.
Yeah, the back-to-back Tilda of it all. Damn, Jesus Christ.
I just asked a question.
Well, you know what?
Chicken butt.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Trying to find one here real quick.
Oh, you don't have a list? Wow.
I do have a list. It's all on right here.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I got to
Elizabeth Banks.
Ryan's glasses.
Elizabeth Banks. Gary Stevens. William H. Macy. Chris Cooper.
Oh fuck! I know this.
Jeff Bridges.
Wait, what?
Tobey Maguire. Do you need me to read them again?
Wait, that's
Oh,
it?
that was it.
That's it.
Why am I not thinking of this?
Elizabeth Banks. Gary Stevens. William H. Macy. Chris Cooper. Jeff Bridges. Tobey Maguire.
I am so.
I will
like-
give you the year
It's not even funny.
Wow.
2003.
Oh, Seabiscuit.
my
Yes, that is
God.
correct.
Wow.
Elizabeth Banks was in.
I had no idea
Seabiscuit?
Elizabeth Banks.
She
Pretty rude
plays-
to not mention the horse, but okay.
I'm sorry I didn't mention the glue. All right.
No, Chris Cooper got actually an individual nomination for that movie.
Yeah, he did.
Yes. Elizabeth Banks plays Jeff Bridges' wife in the film. Yes. His second wife, because he, at the beginning he was married.
I
and then
absolutely
Okay.
Yeah,
liked
wow,
so
that was a tough
hard.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have
Wow.
been. Oh my god, how many has Tobey Maguire been in, for fuck's sake?
Well, we'll
Yeah,
find
well,
out.
there was another one I was thinking of, but it was missing some people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Right. Let's see here. All right. Delroy Lindo. Dennis Farina.
I have a guess.
Josh?
Get Shorty.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. All right. I'm going to throw a television one in here. Are you ready?
As
No,
will
but
ever be.
go ahead.
All right. Dule Hill. Richard Schiff.
Got it.
All right.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah,
West Wing.
that is correct.
I had it at Dule Hill, but I just wanted to make sure.
Nobody wants to do it on just one name.
As soon
You
as he
always-
said Richard Schiff, I knew.
Yeah.
This is see some of these are easy.
if you watch television.
Well, no, it's because, and this isn't a spoiler or anything, but just to help you out in the future, television repeats a lot.
Yeah.
Well, because it's the same shows over and over
Yeah.
again, and
Yep.
not like movies. So
Well, no, I'm talking. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. That is true. All right, back to films. All right, Billy Boyd, Ian Holm,
got it.
Eric.
Oh no! Wait a minute. I'm gonna. So, Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
Which one is it? Fellowship of the Ring.
That is correct.
Okay.
Ian Holm, I don't think is in Two Towers, and Return of the
He's-
King was
yeah.
last week. So
Yeah.
Hey, I might throw something that was in last week again here.
Yeah,
I got
okay.
no problem with that. All right. All right. Bill Murray, Harvey Keitel, Tom
Is that-
Wilkins.
yeah,
yes.
the Grand Budapest.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So Josh has 4, Eric has 3, and Dan, we'd like you to play.
I am too slow on the buzzer. The last 2 I knew and was beaten out.
Are y'all ready?
Sure.
Finn Waitrock, Rafe Spall, Hamish Linklater, Marissa Tomei, Melissa Leo,
Wait.
Jeremy Strong,
Wait.
Oh,
Brad Pitt.
yeah. The Big Short.
That is correct.
Oh my god. Yeah.
That is correct.
Oh my
Forgot
god.
that Marissa Tomei was even in that movie.
Yeah, me
She's
too.
barely in that damn thing.
Oh
Barely.
Wow.
Josh is cleaning up.
All right. Are y'all ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, no, but
Margot Martindale, Misty Upman.
a buzz.
Ah,
August Osage County.
that is correct. Dan's on the board. The comeback begins.
Ah! Of course, it's the one based on a play.
All right.
Should
Okay.
have started with Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Meryl Streep. I wonder. All right. Mia Wasikowska. Josh Hutcherson.
Buzz.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, that's close. I don't actually.
You can have it, Dan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's.
The kids
Yeah,
are
I
all
think
right.
it was. Yes, that is correct. And
Yeah.
I think it was Dan, to be fair.
Yeah,
I think so.
The tape will have to play it back, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Dan. Yeah. Just like a half second before, but
Yes, yes.
The vagaries of streaming.
yeah.
Anthony Hopkins. Demi Moore, Christian Slater,
Oh,
Freddie Rodriguez.
I think I got it.
Oh yeah.
Few Good Men? No, wait.
No,
Shit.
no, that is incorrect.
No,
Eric's
no,
out.
Nope,
I'm
nope,
an idiot.
Nope.
Yeah.
Bobby.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew we were going to get to Bobby at some
Yeah.
point in this game.
When he said Elizabeth Banks, I was like, it's Bobby. I know it's
Yes.
Bobby.
Oh, my God. I'm so
No.
stupid.
Well,
Yeah, 'cause,
I
like,
mean, we
half
didn't
the
have to
SAG
play
is in
this
that
game
movie.
to prove it, but
Yeah,
yes,
that's
Eric,
true,
yeah.
but I'm definitely showing it now.
All right. Yeah, I'll go with that one. Alex Borstein, Reed Diamond, Tate Donovan, Matt Ross, Ray Weiss,
Oh,
Tom McCarthy.
yeah. Is this Good Night and Good Luck?
That is correct.
Damn, Josh.
Wow.
Yeah,
Alex
didn't
Borstein.
even get to
Alex
Robert Downey Jr., Peter Jacobson, Franklin Jello,
There's a lot of people in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David
Apparently.
Strathairn, obviously, and George Clooney.
Yeah.
Patricia Clarkson. Yeah. Basically, everybody got nominated for that movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody had a good agent for their own title card.
Mhm.
All right. Morgan Freeman, Clint Eastwood.
Buzz.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ah.
my God.
Okay. Dan,
$1 Million Baby.
Yeah,
that is correct.
with 3 people in that.
Hillary
ensemble?
Swank was the
so.
last
Oh,
one.
yeah.
That is correct.
Martin Martindale was robbed.
Yes.
All right.
So was the chair.
Last. God.
Best supporting
Yeah.
actor, indeed.
It was. She could not have won without it.
That is true.
God
Brilliant
damn
scene
it.
partner.
God damn it. Just so still in the performance.
Oh
Anyway. All right. Last one.
Just a crippling performance.
All right. Okay. All right.
But
All right.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God. Okay. That was good, Josh. Orson Bean.
I think I got it.
Oh, yeah,
Being John Malkovich.
that is correct.
oh yeah.
We'll do one more. Maybe 2 more. This is fun.
It's very fun.
It's very hard.
Kathy Bates. Victor Garber.
Oh, Titanic.
Yes.
Y'all should be embarrassed about that, actually.
Mhm.
I literally was just about to buzz
Yeah.
as you said it.
All right. All right. Last one, and then we can head on out of here. Okay. Emma Thompson. Olivia Williams.
Buzz.
Yes, Dan.
Love Actually.
That is incorrect. Dominic Cooper.
Fuzz.
Yes,
Wait.
Eric.
Oh shit. Sense and Sensibility.
Oh
Nope. That
no,
is
no.
incorrect.
I
Wow.
Rosamund
Great.
Pike.
There you go, Josh.
Alfred Molina. Peter Sarsgaard. And Carrie Mulligan.
Oh, okay. In education.
That is correct.
Damn it.
I don't feel good about that, though.
No, I felt great. Um,
No, Dan
Okay.
and I premature ejected that one.
You really did.
Yeah.
so, Josh, you are our winner of that. We'll have to have you go head to head with Sophia next time she's on.
Yeah.
Being an award season nerd finally pays off.
Josh got 9,
Awesome.
and Eric got 4, and Dan, you got 3. So
I'm glad I got that many.
we got 2. We got to go to the tape. We might have to take one. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to take one back from you, Dan. That would be weird. That would be so mean if we were just like next week on the show. By the way,
We have a correction.
we have a correction to make in the scores.
Stop the count.
So, Eric.
What?
All right. That's been the AwardsWatch Podcast. Dan Baer, can you tell everyone where they can find you on the internet?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Dancing Dan on Film.
Dan's going to have a review soon on the website for some yellow creatures. Yeah, some minions. Yeah, he's doing it so none of us have to. Go read it on AwardsWatch.com. Josh, can you tell everyone where they can find you?
You can find me on Twitter at @JRParham.
Glad to have you back, Josh. After
Yeah.
a really nice vacation for yourself, sir.
No, it was very nice, and I'm glad to be back.
Erik Anderson, my old so-and-so. Where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at awards_watch.
And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Ryan McQuade 77. We will be back next week. Have no idea what we'll be talking about. Probably getting closer to Emmy nominations. It'll be like the holiday weekend as well, too. So we'll probably do something themed with that. But until then, we will see you all next time.